Welcome in, everybody. Today we have a special guest, fellow Broncos fan, sufferer, I don't know, whatever you want to call us.
No, we're a happy fan base.
We're a happy fan base. We're not actually in Denver. As you can see, my ears are kind of cut off. We just got the virtual backgrounds. But today we're going to talk about really the NFL season and if we're going to be able to attend games, what it might look like, and then obviously, as you can see, about the Broncos and how good or how not good we're going to be. So before we start, Max, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. Anytime I can talk about Broncos is always something I would look forward to. So, and something I really haven't gotten to do a lot of since I've really gotten into this business. So, I'm very, very, very excited for sure.
I know. I feel like every time it gets brought up on this YouTube or Twitter, Snacks is always there responding, or Nick's just like, shut up. So
yeah, a lot of shut-ups.
Yeah, a good opportunity for sure. All right, so let's just get right into it. So the first question, I mean, what the hell is the NFL season even going to look like? No fans, I don't know, restricted fans. What are you thinking as of now?
So it's definitely leaning towards at least a restricted fans, like a certain amount of half the stadium. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I mean, it just with the way things are going, there's no way they're going to be back to business as usual, just fans in the stadiums. For me, honestly, I just need games. Mm-hmm. So, a Broncos fan living in New Jersey, I don't get to go to games a lot. So it's really something that hasn't been on my mind. Someone like Snacks who goes and tailgates and goes to the games, it would affect them. But, I mean, I think that's what we're looking at, though. Definitely a limited amount of fans allowed in stadiums.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's tough for me to gauge because to me it really doesn't change much compared to having full stadiums. I don't know how much it really would help. But I think there was a report yesterday, whenever people were hearing this last week, that they're going to limit preseason games. I don't know to what extent, if they're limiting all or half or however they're going to cut it, but it sounds like they're definitely taking precautions. But with the NBA and the NHL and golf starting back up today and all that stuff, it seems as if it's going to happen. Yeah.
And, we still have time. Like, the NFL is still months away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess we can hope. I think I heard one, I don't know if it was actually true, on a podcast where for training camp, they're going to quarantine them together as a team. So they go to training camp and they're there for the 3 weeks or 2 weeks or however long it lasts. So
keep them in.
Yeah, do you think that would – I don't know. Do you think that would affect anything in terms of the overall outcome of the season or how it would affect the players or?
No, it's obviously it's for safety reasons, but the only problem is, are they going to do that all season? Because as soon as these people go home, they go out, they go out to dinner or whatever it is they go to do, they're back with their families, seeing other people, then it won't matter how long they were quarantined together as a team. Mm-hmm. It's going to be something that they're going to have to figure out, and hopefully the other sports that are going on or coming back soon will have some type of a plan in place that has already worked that the NFL can use as a guideline.
Yeah, I think – because I know the NBA is going to Orlando. I'm not for sure the exact rules, as if they have to stay in a hotel room when they're not playing, or how that whole dynamic.
Yeah, well, that was the big issue. Is you're going to quarantine them to one place, but when they go out and they come back in, it doesn't matter. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be interesting. Yeah, I don't. That's just kind of weird to me. So really, I guess any say no fans. Do you think in the grand scheme of, I don't know, wins, losses, scoring, anything like that, do you think it will actually really affect anything when we look back at it after? Do you think it'll just be football as usual?
Yeah, I think it might be weird for the first game. But it's maybe even just the first play. But once the ball is snapped, business as usual. The players are going to go right back to playing the same way they were. They might not get those little extra pushes on a third down where the fans are roaring, and you get the the adrenaline from the crowd noise for if you're the home team, like Denver, you're playing in Mile High, the fans are very loud, and it can be very good for the offense, or even our defense. When the offense is on the field, if we're really loud, the offense can struggle getting the plays in, calling audibles. It helps. So those little things, yeah, but I don't know how much we'll really even notice it from being fans sitting on our couches. I guess you'll have to see. Certain stadiums definitely. Kansas City, Arrowhead is one of the loudest stadiums, if not the loudest. So there's definitely an advantage for them when they're playing at home. It's a hard stadium to play in.
So do you think it erases home field advantage? And I know, like from a betting purpose, it's like the 2.5 point initial spread for home field. Do you think that not in terms of like the spread, but just gets wiped in general?
No, because the teams still got to travel there. They still have to, play in. They're going to a locker room they're not familiar with. Or there's so many different like things. They're sleeping in a different bed. So yeah, there's still advantages to being the home team. It's just that and I was reading things they might be pumping crowd noises in and stuff like that. I don't know if that's just for us at home, our entertainment, or if they'd be doing it and the
Yeah, that's
players would be able to
interesting.
hear it too. But the Atlanta Falcons already did that shit. They were pumping some fan noise in years ago. So it works.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird because like, can you change like the pitch of the crowd and like
Well,
the
that's
tone
where it
of the
gets weird.
crowd? Yeah, I don't know
You
if that would
really,
actually
really
like work
need the
out.
fans to step it up. Are you just going to turn the knob a little bit? Like, how's that
Yeah,
fair?
the announcers up in the booth pressing buttons. So
Yeah.
that'd be definitely funny. And I think one more thing, and then we can move off of the whole coronavirus aspect. Warren Sharp put out a tweet a while back when the schedule got made, saying that teams like weren't gonna, I don't know, say the Broncos go to Kansas City and then they have a bye week and then they play in Kansas City, or they wouldn't do that, I guess. But or New York would be a good example. The Broncos go play the Giants and then they play the Jets the next week. He basically
They
said like
stay in New York.
yeah, teams aren't going to move in. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it was very surprisingly unfavorable in the second game for the teams, which was kind of weird in terms of like just the money line, so it's just win or lose.
Well,
Um,
because you're like saying it for the away team to stay out on the
yes,
road
yeah.
longer.
So like,
Makes sense.
yeah, because I think they'd have to practice in their
Yeah, you're not
non-regular.
practicing in your facility. There's so many little things like you don't have your ice bath fucking machine
Yeah,
that you really like. It's that one that you fit in better. Who knows what these players have? Their little rituals and stuff. So being at home is a huge advantage,
so
whether you got fans or not.
you have to take that into account for bagels and locks, and not tell Snacks about that or something when it comes down
Snacks
to it.
can't figure anything out. He's
That's
so
true.
lost right now.
You
It
are
doesn't
you are the
matter.
champion,
I'm the
anyways.
king.
Alrighty, so let's get into the Broncos talks. I'm sure people have already heard too much NFL coronavirus talk. So just start it off, basic recap of what happened this offseason and just your initial thoughts right out of the gate.
So I initially like pretty much everything we did. I'm happy with the signing of Pat Shermer, getting in an offensive coordinator who was successful as an offensive coordinator, not so much as a head coach. I think that when you get those guys that he's just an offensive coordinator, that's what he should have been doing the whole time. That's what he's going to be doing now. So I think he'll find success there again. And then I really like the additions we made player-wise. Jarrell Casey was an absolute steal. We got him for a seventh-round pick. Sure, we got to pay his salary, but the guy's worth it, I think. I think he's still going to be able to ball out. We re-signed Shelby Harris. So that was a discount, too. Like, we got him for nothing because he's on a one-year deal. So I love that. So our D-line is stacked.
I'm trying to think, we lost Derek Wolfe, I know, but he wanted
Derek
too
Wolfe,
much
whatever.
money though.
He was getting hurt all the time anyway. And, he was a solid player. I love Derek Wolfe. Thankful for everything he did. But we got good replacements coming in, so I'm not worried about that. We got A.J. Boye. We got Graham Glasgow. We got Melvin Gordon. Like, we're just getting all these guys that every time we signed someone or we traded for them, I was like, oh, I like that. I like that player. I like that name. Like, I feel good. I'm feeling really good. And then we drafted very well.
Beautiful, yeah. I think back on the free agency, I think a lot of the moves surprised me, to be honest. Like, I wasn't expecting a running back at all. Like, they said maybe the drafts. I was thinking, like, I don't know, a third, fourth round, Darrington Evans, Benjamin, guy like that just to, like, change off pace because Royce Freeman he really hasn't played that
I don't
bad.
think Royce Freeman was that bad. Yeah, I think he just was, like, scapegoat for the fact that Scangarello ran a really shitty offense.
Yeah, so we'll see kind of how that dynamic works with three running backs. But like the Jarrell Casey move, that's not a move at least I've seen the Broncos make since I've been a Broncos fan. I know you're a little older than me, but even back then it's completely different NFL. But like trading a seventh-round pick for I don't even know who they got with that seventh-round pick for all-pro like 2 years ago D lineman to take the money hit. That's not usually the Broncos are the ones getting rid of the money we see every single year.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely huge. And then, Bouye, I think it was a good to solidify losing Chris Harris. We'll see how.
I would have loved to keep Chris Harris, obviously. I feel like instead of keeping Chris Harris, we basically swapped him for Melvin Gordon because the contracts kind of evened out to like what he got from the Chargers and what we gave Melvin. So I would have rather had Chris Harris over Melvin Gordon. I mean, I think that's obvious.
Yeah, so we'll see kind of how because to me, I think the corners were our biggest downfall last year. I think
That's
you
our
could tell.
biggest question mark too, I think, going into the season.
Yeah, because they got guy from Iowa, Ojemudia, signed back Devontae Bosby, and then Bouye, and then who knows about Callahan? Because
Callahan's a big mystery. Yeah,
I was pumped on him last year, thinking our defense was unstoppable, and then I don't even know if he played a full game, to be honest.
I don't think he played a snap. I don't even know if he ever stepped on the field.
Yeah, I do.
He
So
made
we'll see.
$1 million to do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Crazy.
one of Fangio's guys, I guess, bringing him over from the Bears.
Well, he's a great slot corner when he's on the field. He's awesome. It's just he's injury problems, and they plague him, and they're still plaguing him. So that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm trying to think who else. I think that's all the defensive signings. Yeah, because we don't have Justin Simmons back yet. I guess he's on a franchise tag, so we'll see how that.
We're gonna make sure that happens. I think he's too good. We drafted him in like the fifth round, right? He's a fourth rounder.
Yeah, somewhere third, fourth rounder out there.
Like you want to keep those guys those gems.
It sounds like they just tagged him and we're gonna get a deal done. Like don't worry about it type thing. It's the anti-Dak scenario, I guess you could say, for the team. And then the draft. I mean, I think the only complaint I'd have with the draft is we got Cushenberry, but Garrett Bowles is so bad. I like Hamler, I guess, but we didn't really need
him. He's realistically, he probably he'll get on the field this year, but Tim Patrick's going to be the wide receiver 3, and I think Hamler will rotate in and out of the slot or something. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I would love for him to be great, but we already have a Penn State wide receiver on the team who hasn't done shit. So.
Yeah. So that was the only pick because I wanted Josh Jones there. I think that would have been a perfect pairing with Bowles because it sounds like Bowles and Wilkinson are going to battle it out for the left tackle. Is what it sounds like as of now because it sounds like Cushenberry is going to start at the right guard. I guess.
Is he not going to be the center and Glasgow is going to play center? What are they going to do there?
Yeah, I think from what I'm hearing, I guess, but that means literally nothing. I guess it sounds like Bowles and Wilkinson.
They're going to be the left tackle competition.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think of the left. So then center would be Glasgow, right guard Cushenberry, right tackle Jawan James if he stays healthy too. That was another interesting center. Yeah, so we'll see with
our
that.
Tackles and our tackles and our cornerbacks are two biggest concerns, which it's a problem. But I mean, I think they're easily fixable. Yeah,
and I think the O-line it's bad, but it really wasn't bad last year. I mean, I think the first couple of games Flacco took some hits, but as the season progressed, it really wasn't much of an issue. And I think the corner to me was the biggest issue, and we kind of fixed that, I guess. I like Ojemudia, but I don't know about our cornerback 2 situation. So we'll, I guess, evaluate that because we got to keep up with the teams we're trying to be like now with the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Chargers too. So we'll see how that goes. And the receivers, I don't know, just because Judy's going to play the slot probably. So where's Hamler?
If he doesn't play the slot, I'm going to lose my mind because he's a slot receiver. That's where he's a big slot. That's where he belongs. And he can create separation against cornerbacks and everybody. But if you put a linebacker on him, right, there's no chance they're covering him. He's going to I think his over-under is 850 receiving yards.
Roughly, that's where a lot of them are.
If he gets over 50% of his snaps in the slot, 60% of his snaps in the slot, he should hit that mark. No problem.
Yeah, you'd think so, especially when Shermer – well, the one thing we can talk about too is Shermer's passing rate overall is 62%, I think. But then they go out and get Melvin Gordon. So, I don't know how you feel. I'm kind of torn to see – because I think we're going to run a lot of 11 personnel. And if people listening don't know what that is, it's – 1 tight end, 1 running back, 3 receivers. It doesn't have to be a tight end. I guess it has to be on the lines. It could be a fullback. Do you think they're going to try and air it out, or do you think adding a guy like Gordon – I'm just kind of contradicting what I think because I don't know if they're going to let Drew Lock completely air it out right away. So what are you thinking?
I think they're going to want to see him throw it. I don't know how much, but, I mean, the fact that we have Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay, so you got Lindsay's going to – hopefully this is how I see it at least. Lindsay will be your in-between tackle, runner. He'll get all the inside work or most of the inside work. And then Melvin Gordon's going to be the third down, pass catching back, and on all those other packages where, you get those quick dump offs or the screens where he does his best work. That's really where Melvin Gordon is useful, is in the open field catching passes.
Yeah, so that's where I just kind of contradict myself because then we also have the O-line coach that I always forget his name every time I mention him from the Steelers.
Munchak.
Yeah, and he runs a zone-based scheme, and that doesn't benefit passing offenses. So like that's where I'm kind of confused.
Well, we're also a big play action. So
That's true.
we're gonna run a lot, and then we're gonna play action. And Drew Lock, I mean, he was running play action last year. I mean, I don't have any numbers and stats.
Yeah, he had to though.
You watch his highlights. Yeah, exactly. A lot of his throws were off of play action. So,
how do you think the tight end situation? Because now we have 3 starting tight ends with Nick Vannett, Albert O, and Noah Fant. How do you think that's going to play out?
I mean, I think Fant is obviously the favorite. He should be, at least for the pass catching portion of being the vertical tight end. I don't know who's the better blocker. I mean, Albert O is probably still – he's just like a fast tight. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like a 4.38 or something like that.
Yeah, the guy's a freak when it comes to size and speed. So you're going to want him out there trying to catch balls. It's just seems to be like the problem that everyone's kind of talking about is there's too many weapons. It's not like a problem. It's a good problem to have, but like you got so many weapons out there. Who's going to be the one getting the ball? And it's going to be a week-to-week thing for fantasy is where it's going to get messy.
Yeah, I think the one good thing I will say about that is it's not a lot of repeating roles. So, like, Sutton, like, he's probably the alpha, you could say, or the possession guy. Judy is probably, like, in terms of production, probably going to be the alpha eventually, but he's just the slot guy. And then Patrick's just kind of there. He just kind of draws off coverage, catches the ball here and there. And I think, I hope we drafted Hamler to give him 5 to 6, like, manufactured touches a game to make sure he gets the ball on positive plays. And Fant, I don't really know. I mean, you would think they'd have a huge role for him after drafting him around 1 last year. But
yeah, I don't know what they did with that.
Yeah, and I don't see any of Alberto, Noah Fant. Maybe Vannett plays fullback because we got rid of Janovich. So I'm kind of confused on sort of the plan of attack.
I don't think Shermer uses a fullback in his offense, which is why we got rid of Janovich. Which I was very sad to see him go. He's one of my favorite Broncos.
He's a beast, Nebraska guy. I think we got him 6th-round pick. So I guess
he was a beast. We ran into people really hard, and like I enjoyed watching it.
I remember he scored. I don't know if it was his rookie year. He scored against the Panthers after winning the Super Bowl. Like the first touchdown. I think it was his rookie year, maybe year after.
Was the year after the Super Bowl when we played them week 1?
Yeah, on Thursday night.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember he ran like a 30-yard touchdown. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a beast.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot to like digest, I think. And normally we'd have practices and training camps to maybe pick it apart. So we have to wait a whole another month for that really to happen. It sounds like they had the D coordinator had a press conference today or Zoom conference today, and they were hyping up Drew Lock and all that stuff like everyone is. So on Drew Lock, I know you're wearing the jersey right now. Is he really it? Is he what we've been waiting for really since ever? I mean, I get Manning, but like we just signed him like since Tebow. Is he the franchise quarterback?
So I feel like franchise quarterbacks today in like today's NFL is like a 6-year window, 7-year window, because you don't really see those 10, 12, 13, 14, like 15-year guys anymore. Like even like people who were saying like Carson Wentz would be a franchise quarterback. I don't think he's going to be in the league in like 4 years. The guys just don't hold up the same way. So like to have that true franchise quarterback, I don't know. Is he going to be the quarterback of the Broncos for the next 4 years? 4, 5? Yeah, I'll say yes. I'm going to go ahead. I think that they like what they've seen enough, and it's only a small sample size too. They like what they've seen enough to give him all these weapons, to give him the opportunity to get it done. So, I mean, we took him in the 2nd round. We're going to give him a chance. We're not going to just throw him away. I don't know, man. I want to say yeah. I'm going to be confident. That's why I got the jersey. Because it's positive thinking. I'm just going to believe that he is the answer for us right now is what we needed.
I think I'm a little hesitant because the last time I bought a Broncos quarterback jersey after Manning was Osweiler, and that all happened. So I like to stay one, I don't buy quarterback jerseys now. That's why I wear the Von Miller one all the time, and I just don't like to say anything. But I think I don't like people projecting what he did in the 4 games because he really didn't play like fantastic in the 4 games. He just beat the Texans that one time, and like he didn't play fantastic really in that game. There's just a bunch of open plays. So I don't know. I hope that because the thing is, I think if we're bad, our team is good enough to where we're not going to have a top pick. So we're never going to be in that top 6 pick range to get a future quarterback in the next 3-4 years with a defense that somehow, no matter how depleted we are, is always good.
Here's what with John Elway, I don't know if it's more of a concern or like I'm kind of happy about it, but like I think if like by like week 6 or 7 before like the trade deadline, or even like we'll see what happens with who gets signed or whatnot. But if Drew Lock is not doing well, like 6-7 weeks in, John Elway is the kind of guy I think who would go out and get like a Cam Newton if he was still available, or like try and trade for Jameis Winston. Like get one of those guys that's on a roster right now that's sitting there and should be starting and isn't, because he wants to win championships. That's what John Elway wants to do. He wants to win Super Bowls, and he knows what he needs to do it. So he's trying this. I think if he sees it's not working, he'll jump ship, fuck you, Drew Lock, and go get a veteran guy and see what he can do.
I hope so. The one thing that was worried some to me is we just cut Joe Flacco and took the cap hit when it didn't make any sense, I guess. So like that shows to me like they're all in on Drew Lock, and that's it. Like you can't decide anything else, because I think Brett Ripken's still there and Jeff Driscoll, I think is our backup. So yeah, hey, fantasy god for a couple of weeks. So that part was confusing. Maybe Flacco just wanted out and they just didn't like tell anyone type thing, I guess. I don't really know.
Like, fucked up, man. We don't need that on the team right now.
No, he just last year was like didn't look like he wanted to be there in the games. He would just throw it away with.
Looked like that his entire career. Fucking.
That's true. He has a Super Bowl ring though, I guess. So I don't. Yeah, now he's over in the Jets. That's so gross. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, Drew Lock. We hope so. Oh God. We'll just pray.
Be positive, man. We just gotta be positive. And I think in today's NFL, he's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna work.
All right, we can hope so. I mean, as long as the O-line keeps up, our defense is good, and we have the weapons. I feel like at worst, like 8-8 should be reasonable.
We also have a super underrated defense that I think is only going to be improved upon from last year. You know, a lot of those guys in year 2 of Fangio's defense and the system, I think they'll pick it up better. You saw at the end of the season how much better the defense was from the beginning, and even Fangio as a coach with his game management got so much better. He was terrible the first couple of games, calling stupid timeouts, making terrible decisions. So, you know, bright future. I'm positive about this season.
I know, we got to be. So I guess on top of the defense, is there really a couple of guy or two that you think might have a sort of breakout season that's probably not being named quite a bit, I guess you could say? I know there's a couple of rookies. Kareem Jackson, Bryce Callahan comes back, Justin Simmons, Bradley Chubb comes back, hopefully, stuff like that.
So Bradley Chubb, I would hope, has a nice comeback year, because that's, you know, first round draft pick, and we need him to produce like that. You know, he got hurt, so that happens, just whatever. I'd say a guy that, like, we don't talk about enough, who kind of was emerging last year, never really emerged, Alexander Johnson, our linebacker. It's between him, Todd Davis, and Josie Jewell. Those are like the 3 guys. And we drafted someone in the draft, but he's probably not a threat. So I think, you know, and all I've seen is positive reports from Vic Fangio talking about how much he's improved and all this stuff. And he's got an awesome nickname. Isn't it like the Velociraptor or whatever?
Something like that. I follow him on Twitter. I think that's his name. But yeah,
that's
he
awesome
stood out
nickname.
to me.
So, and Fangio's one of those guys. So this is why I thought of it too. Fangio's one of those guys where he's had a history of I don't want to say breeding, but like making these awesome middle linebackers, these awesome linebackers. Just helping them, like, Patrick Willis and
trying to think of the Bears. Well, I mean, Roquan Smith had a really good rookie year too.
Roquan Smith had a really good rookie year, but there was one other one in there. But like exactly, so like he makes these middle linebackers so much better than what they are, and shows their true potential. So that's why I'm excited for him this year.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was, like, I knew he was on the team. I didn't know he was going to play a lot right away week 1 come last year.
He came out of nowhere.
It was crazy. I figured it'd be Todd Davis and then Josie Jewell as the sub line, well, not the sub linebacker, but the rotational linebacker. So it was good, because I think back to when we were in the Super Bowl, we were in contention. We had a rotation of 3 to 4 really good linebackers that were just tackling machines, because the way our defense works, you have to be. That's why our D tackles always get paid when they leave, because they get, like, I don't know how much tackles they get, whatever makes them seem good, because no one's going to run to the outside on Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. So it's kind of reassuring that they're there, I guess. Then you got Kareem Jackson, played okay in the games he was injured. He's also kind of an older guy anyway, so kind of see how that rotation goes with him. I wish he would play corner, to be honest. I figured
He
I
needs
don't
to be a
know,
safety.
especially
That's what
last
happens when
year.
you get older. When you
That's
get
true,
older,
yes.
he can't be playing man on someone. You got to stick him in the back of there. He's a big hitter, so like as a safety, I think that was perfect for him. Just give him another year in the system, and we're good to go.
All right. So we'll move on to sort of the schedule, maybe a record prediction, a couple of games that we want to talk about here. So give me – I'm not going to say realistic and unrealistic. Just give me like your thoughts on like a record prediction or maybe a range of outcomes for the Broncos as of now.
All right. So, I mean, this was my prediction for last year. So I'm going to stick with the same prediction because I think we're better than last year, and this actually will be realistic now. 10-6. 10-6, playoffs, and we'll see what happens after that. I don't know if we're good enough. We're too young probably on the offensive side. But
Yeah.
10-6.
The one game I don't want to draw is the Chiefs round 1 in the playoffs. That would just crush my hopes because as much as I want us to beat the Chiefs,
I don't hate that. Listen, we've played the Chiefs every year, twice a year, and we play them tight every single time. Last year, I mean, was it last year or 2 years ago? Patrick Mahomes had to throw a left-handed pass to beat us.
That's true. And we switched to man coverage on Tyreek Hill
last
middle of the game too.
Last year we did get smoked by their backup, I think, that one game. So
yeah, he got hurt.
It was a weird
quarter
game.
2, I think. And then the snow game, like Drew Lock's like third game ever in the snow in Kansas City. Like, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. So last year, not so much, but we weren't going through some shit. We had a steady team. We always play the Chiefs tight, so I'm not too worried about that. They're definitely one of those teams where on the schedule this year we got to beat them once. Got to win one game.
It's the AFC's pretty opened up. I'm not going to say because of Tom Brady because I think it kind of evened out overall. I mean, the Ravens are just the Ravens. The Chiefs are still good, but I mean, it took them 50 years to win a Super Bowl, so we're not even going to talk about that, I guess. So
Super Bowl slump coming too, by the way. Get ready for it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Probably won't even win the division. Be surprised if they do, to be honest with you.
I mean, we got a pretty tough division too. I think the Chargers are going to surprise people because Chris Harris as their third corner is crazy.
I think the Chargers are absolute butt. They're going to be like they're going to have like the third pick. The Raiders will surprise people. They're a very good offensive line, a lot of weapons, and Derek Carr is super underrated. So
yeah, I think John Gruden will mess that up somehow. He'll make some dumb.
John Gruden gets unnecessary hate for no reason. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I think John Gruden's much better of a coach than people give him credit for. It's just like they just like to joke about him because Frank Caliendo can do his accent.
All right, so 10-6. So if you're listening on podcast, you obviously can't see the schedule. I'll put it up on YouTube for people to see. So obviously you said split with the Chiefs, which I hope that's the case. Besides that, what games probably stick out to you the most in terms of like these are probably the biggest games of the year due to whatever reason might be?
Well, I mean, all division games will get that out of the way. But outside of that, the Titans, Monday Night Football.
Yep. I think
week 1. Is that right? Is that week 1?
It's the night game, like the one that's at like it's like 9 your time.
Game.
Yeah.
So like that's a huge game. Number 1 because it's week 1. Number 2, it's the Tennessee Titans who finished the season very strong last year and are going to be coming in hungry. So it'll be a good way to test kind of where we're at coming in.
We got a pretty tough opening 3 with the Titans. Big Ben's back with the Steelers, and then Brady comes to Denver. But we always play really good, except for last year, opening week in Denver on those night games. Because especially this year, I think teams aren't going to be in peak condition, and they're going to come play in the Mile High Air.
I'm playing Mile High.
And Derrick Henry, I mean, is he really going to get 30 carries? We always shut down. We held him to, 0 points and like 30 yards the one game in the regular season last year. So
yeah, it was the week I told everyone to go bet on Derrick Henry for over his rushing yards for the game, and he didn't hit it. Because we were our run defense was terrible, like leading up to that week. And then we just decided to shut down Derrick Henry.
We always seem to step up against like the really good running backs. Like I remember 2 or 3 years ago, we put Zeke at like 20 yards when like the Cowboys were like, we were 2-0, they were 2-0. So we always seem to show up on that. So I'm hoping. I mean, I think the rotation of corners and safeties can lock down A.J. Brown. And besides that, all you got to do is stop Derrick Henry. So that's a big game. And then we go to Pittsburgh. I don't even know how to evaluate that game because like Big Ben doesn't play that great against the Broncos anyways.
Yeah, I'm not
So
really
we'll
too
see.
worried about them. They're kind of one of those teams that's trying to figure out their bounce back. So let them figure that out while
And
we're on the rise.
the third game. This is the game. Well, me and my dad, if there's fans, we plan on going to this game. Brady's coming to Denver with his new um, posse of players. They're practicing today, apparently. I don't really know. So Brady in Denver is not good. It's the only team he has a losing record against, and I'm pumped for this game because I think if we
Yep.
can come out 2-0, they play the Saints week 1, so they could lose that game. I'm not for sure who they play week 2. I think it'll be a big game. I think this would be that'd be like the turning point game, you could say, to really see what this team is made of. So I'd probably rank that game number 1. I mean the Chiefs probably, but I'd
Yeah,
probably rank that game
I mean,
number
the
1.
Bucks are one of those teams that people are picking to win Super Bowl this year because of Tom Brady and everything. So if we can beat them, I'll feel really good. I'll feel really good.
And then we go into the Jets and the Dolphins and the Tom Brady-less Patriots. So it's kind of like that. That's
Not
a
worried.
huge first 3 stretch. The graphic also is based on win totals. So by then, Sam Darnold could be benched for Joe Flacco. Adam Gase could not be there. Stuff like that in week 4. So yeah, I think those are some big games for sure. We play the Saints on Thanksgiving week.
That was the last one I had on there is like a big game where because if we're trying to compete, we're trying to be a playoff team. That's a playoff team. You got to be able to hang. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be because if I remember right, that one's in. Is that one in Denver or is it?
I couldn't tell you.
We can
Broncos
find out here.
schedule. That's in Denver, yes.
Okay, so yeah, that'd be huge, especially because Thanksgiving week usually the away team has, I mean, for obvious reasons, the struggles to sometimes be fully committed there. But it's Drew Brees. I'm not super worried at all. Apparently, he might not even be the starter now with the comments he made. So we'll see how that plays out for them. But yeah, I think there's a couple big games for sure. I wish we would have had last year's schedule this year because last year's schedule was a lot easier in the time we really didn't need it to be, and we dropped so many close games, so it didn't really help us at all.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
another thing of a reason why I'm very confident that we will be an improved team because we lost games last year at the end of the like literally like a minute left in the game, like the fucking Jaguars game. Where
Packers, Bears.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That was 3 weeks in a row right there. And even that, was week 1 against the Raiders was a touchdown. Like we lost I think 7 games by 1 score. So we're right there. So
yeah,
it's just
the Colts too. I think
stupid mistakes. Yeah, Colts were Jacoby Brissett was running fucking wild, and there was a hold. They didn't call it.
Yeah, I mean there was a couple. I know the Bears game, the whole pass interference or roughing the passer.
Oh yeah, roughing the passer for was it the Jaguars or the Bears? I don't even know. There were all so many crazy endings to the Broncos' first 5-6 games. So,
but I think some of that was Fangio's fault. There was a couple spots where he used dumb timeouts and didn't use dumb timeouts and stuff like that. So we'll see if he can improve. But yeah, I agree. I think that we're right. I think we're an 8-8 team with the potential to be 10-6 very easily to compete, especially because now the offensive weapons, which I hope it clicks. It's going to be tough without where we hope a full offseason because I think Shermer really needed the time to figure out what he wants to do because we have a lot of weapons. I don't know if Deontay Spencer is still there. I was going to ask about that too. Sort of the CFL kind of KJ Hamler. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if he can get mixed in too because he was pretty efficient last year and was good for what Hamler's role hopefully is with motions and all that stuff too. So we can hope that happens as well. So then the last one, we're talking about playoffs. It sounds like we're talking about playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, at least a wild card. I feel like it's. I'm trying to think of like other teams in the AFC, and I think there's no reason for us to not be a top 6 team.
I mean, we can go through it. So
7, right? Did they change the format?
It's 7 this year. 16 games and 7, and then next year's 17 and 7. So I mean, if you go through. Yeah, so if you go through it, I mean, we'll just say Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, I guess. I don't know who wins that division.
Yeah, probably.
And then the Colts division, I don't know. And all 4 of them, really, all 3 probably, I guess.
Colts, Titans, us.
Yeah, reasonable. I think the Texans are close to us, I think. I mean, like they always seem to somehow be there.
They maybe last year, not this year.
Yeah.
They've been on the cusp of being a losing team every year for years now. It's finally coming.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think there's definitely range for sure that we could definitely hit. I hope so, too. I mean, because the 7 plays the 2, I guess. So that's probably the Chiefs or the Ravens. But if we can somehow snag the 6 and draw like the Colts or something, I think that'd be huge to move on.
Ravens haven't played very well in the playoffs with Lamar Jackson. So it's 2 years in a row he's struggled or the team has struggled. And so I wouldn't mind playing them, fuck them up.
Yeah, you mean just spy Von Miller and Bradley Chubb on them too? I mean, just run all over them. Apparently, that's their kryptonite, I guess. Last
Yeah.
year we saw. Alrighty, we'll finish it off here with some of your bold takes. So if people are listening, they don't know you are the Bagels and Locks 2019/2020 champion. You came back to beat Snacks in a very last minute fashion, you could say. So
Came down to the last week.
it did. It was pretty intense. I was rooting for you the whole time, mainly just to make Snacks mad on Twitter. So Super Bowl, just go your pairing. Give me a realistic, like if you were to place a bet on it, you and Snacks, and give me just like a fun one or one that could happen. That'd be fun to see.
I wanted to say the Ravens earlier, but like I just brought up the fact that they kind of choke in the playoffs, so I'm going to scratch that. I'm going to go with my NFC team, and you know what? Let me go to I'm going to say the Seahawks. You know, I hate the fucking Seahawks. Russell Wilson is just a quarterback I can't fade. So we'll go with the Seahawks, and I'm not going to say the Chiefs because fuck the Chiefs. Titans.
I like that. That's probably what I was going to say. I think people are going to undervalue them. I think they have a very good shot of literally doing what they did last year, which was just feed Derrick Henry. I know you're a big Derrick Henry guy. I mean, early rankings. I don't know if you have your own rankings. Does he crack your top 4? He's my 5 right now.
Oh, yeah, easily. He's probably my 5. I don't know. I think I actually did my rankings. He might actually have been my 4, to be honest with you. I think I sent my rankings to O.J. Simpson one night. I DM'd him.
Oh, there you go, for sure.
And he was my number 4 in there. So
He's a beast. All right, so then that's your realistic one. Give me I don't even know if it's unrealistic, just like a fun one that you wish would happen, I guess.
Well, mine's the Broncos because we'll just, obviously that's what I would want. A fun one, I think, would be to see like a team that like came out of nowhere, like the Cardinals get in somehow, like a team that, they were nothing last year. So like maybe like a Cardinals versus would have to be I feel like Cardinals Bills would be fun.
Okay, I think like that would be
for unrealistic because it would never happen. Ever.
The Bills are gaining a lot of like Josh Allen Super Bowl long shots and all that stuff. So it's definitely he was like one of the least accurate quarterbacks last year. I don't know where they pull a Super Bowl out of him, but definitely a division for sure. Alrighty, MVP. Do the same thing. Maybe give me a best value, and then maybe I don't know, just a fun one like a Drew Lock or something like that.
Best value is Tom Brady easily because he hasn't won in a while, and if he goes to another team like he did, and he plays just as well as he always has, then I think you're going to easily see him get it because they're going to be like, oh, look, he did it without Bill. Like, he's clearly the most valuable player. So Tom Brady, smash that one, especially if the Bucs have a winning record because they didn't have one with Jameis. Mm-hmm. So if that's like the difference right there, then damn, he is the MVP.
Yeah, it's usually like 10 or 11 wins, I think, is like the baseline, you could say. So
yeah, I think he's if you're looking at like the odds, I think he's the 3rd or 4th favorite. So the odds are, they're pretty good right now. And for like a fun one, I mean, shit, I really want to say Derrick Henry. I want to say he goes for I want to say Derrick Henry rushes for 2,000 rushing yards this year. I want to say they completely just let him loose and go ballistic, and he rushes for 2,000 rushing yards and wins the MVP.
So like realistically, like what do you think? Because a running back would have to do in like today's age to actually do
2,000 rushing yards.
Because the quarterback play would have to be like mediocre. Like we'd have to like see like I don't know what Russell Wilson puts up every year, which like he's always in the conversation, but he's like never the guy. So like 2,000 rushing yards, I don't know, 15 to 20 touchdowns. I guess I don't really know what the requirement would be. People probably wouldn't vote him anyways if he was.
You'd have to have double-digit touchdowns, and I feel like the 2,000 rushing yards is like I don't know.
Maybe if they finally
it's weird because like Chris Johnson, I think what will end up happening is if that does happen, they'd give him Offensive Player of the Year and not MVP, which is like such a fucking cop out. But
yeah, it's like here you go, 2nd place.
Like that's what they did with Chris Johnson. I'm pretty sure he didn't get the MVP, but he got the Offensive Player of the Year. But it's like,
is that what McCaffrey got last year? Did he even get the Offensive Player of the Year?
I think he got like everything though. Christian McCaffrey. He didn't get MVP obviously because that was Lamar. But he probably got Offensive Player of the Year, stuff like all that.
For sure.
Same thing. They don't give MVP to running backs.
No,
Won't do it.
Maybe if they gave Derrick Henry a couple more screen passes a game, it might work out. You could say that. Maybe I don't know. I think he could definitely. We see him catch the ball and go for 80 yards and a touchdown all the time. So, Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, I guess Joe Burrow's the answer, but maybe someone else. You think?
Yeah, Joe Burrow's like the answer because he's a quarterback. But if you want to like have fun, I like Jerry Jeudy. I think he's going to be the most productive rookie wide receiver. And the odds are pretty good on him right now. You can actually, it's like a good value. Because if Joe Burrow comes in, he throws up a stinker year one, you can't give him the MVP. So, get like last year, I think you could make the argument that like AJ Brown or, I don't know who, maybe Terry McLaurin, one of those guys could have been the offensive rookie of the year, not Kyler Murray. So I think you could see like maybe a little shift this year. I think he's the best wide receiver in the rookie class, so why wouldn't he win it out of all the other wide receivers?
And I think the other there's more than two quarterbacks, but the other two first-rounders aren't even starters yet, too. So there's definitely room to maneuver there, and I still think the Bengals aren't that great of a team anyway. So definitely.
Yeah, Tua's not going to start week one, so I don't see how he would have enough time to even win an award. So.
Yeah. All right, Defensive Rookie of the Year. This one's tough because I don't really know like who actually has better position or.
I'm going to go with Patrick Queen on the Ravens because the Ravens draft well every single year. They just draft great players. They know how to make their players. They know how to get the best out of their players. They drafted a young linebacker many years ago, or I don't know how many years ago, C.J. Mosley.
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
Was arguably should have been the defensive player or defensive rookie of the year. And I believe Marcus Peters got it because he had like 4 interceptions in one game or whatever and fucking just took everyone by surprise there. But I think it's the time for the Ravens to have their rookie of the year. They always have great defensive players. So, I mean, Patrick Queen's plus 1,200. Great value.
Really? Yeah. I mean, he's probably the main linebacker unless I'm missing anyone. Because that was like their biggest need last year. I can't even think of who's even plays linebacker for him.
He'll step right in and be on the field.
For sure. All righty. The final one, the top 5 teams. So, like the 1 through 5 in the draft order for 2021.
Like as in?
Like, who do you think will
draft order? Who's going to have the 1 to 5?
The worst 5 records.
All right. Well, like I said earlier, I think the Chargers are going to have a big stinker year. I think everyone thinks their roster is a lot better than it is. So, do I have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
If you want, or just 5 teams, doesn't really matter.
I don't know if I could do that. I'll give you just 5 teams. Definitely going to be. I'm going to go with the Chargers. Oh, I want to say the Dolphins, but I feel like, the Dolphins. I feel like they'll be there again. Unfortunately, it's not their time yet. Jaguars be a big stinker team. Let's see the Bears. I feel like I'm picking like a lot of the obvious ones in the. Fuck. I don't know if I should go with the – I'm debating between the Panthers and the Redskins here. But I kind of like the Redskins better. I think they have a lot more – I think Ron Rivera's a better coach. I'll go with the Panthers. I think they're going to stink.
It's kind of weird because I think there's a lot of – like when you just like think about it, a lot of teams that like kind of just got a quarterback that they're going to now have to replace that quarterback. Like Teddy Bridgewater moves to the Panthers. They could easily go – 2-14, 3-13. The Redskins are a good example. Chargers are a good example. I don't think they would go quarterback again because obviously Herbert would need time to develop, I guess. But there's a lot of teams that will be up there that will have some interesting decisions to make.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to see one of those teams that doesn't need a quarterback end up with the first overall pick and fucking sell it for a boatload to whoever wants Trevor Lawrence because that's basically what it is.
Yeah, I probably makes a lot of sense. You could see like I don't know. I hate the whole Patriots narrative, I guess, but if they're like 500, I definitely think they would sell the farm. You could say for that, but there's definitely a lot of teams that would need that for sure.
It's crazy because how it worked out for that. Like teams like the Patriots too, who just lost Tom Brady and could possibly end up landing Trevor Lawrence now.
Yeah, they literally kept their like whole core. They're all mix of young and old, and they might go 7-9 and have a top pick next year or something like that, and it'll just be right back to Bill Belichick winning Super Bowls left and right. I guess
Disgusting.
we don't help for that. Alrighty, well, this has been awesome. I'm sure this is a little bit better than Snacks yelling at you about Eli Manning or something like that.
No, I had a blast, man. Once it
So,
gets closer to the season, I think when we have a better idea, we should do something like this again.
all right, we'll have to recheck the Broncos status. So if you want right now, maybe just talk about your work at Big Dogs or Bagels and Locks, or if you have anything that you want to plug real quick, you can do that.
Oh, yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at animal_BDGE. I post a lot of random shit. I'm in a bunch of fantasy leagues. I post about, the drafts and whatever's going on. And then, like you said, Bagels and Locks during the football season. Me and my man Snacks, we're giving you all the best picks for your football Sundays. And, we got the Fade the Public podcast every Friday. So check out the channel, BDGE. It's actually Nick Ercolano on YouTube. And that's it.
All righty. Everybody, thank you for listening. Max, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys next time.